Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, for our webinar session today, please be reminded to use the YouTube chat box if you have any question to our panel regarding their topic on his discussion, and the committee and I will be the one reading them, and we try to convey the question during the Q&A sessions after the speakers has completed the presentation. Next, the link for you to fill your attendance will also be made available in the YouTube chat box at the end of the session today, and the committee will pin its YouTube chat box, and failure to do so will result to no attendance recorded and no e-certificates. And for your kind consideration and cooperation in ensuring the smooth flow of the session today. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Puan-puan, tuan-tuan dan mahasiswa serta mahasiswi sekalian, untuk sesi webinar kita pada hari ini, saya ingatkan untuk menggunakan kotak sembang YouTube. Sekiranya anda mempunyai sebarang soalan kepada panel-panel jemputan kami berkenaan dengan topik yang akan diperbincangkan nanti. Dan saya dan jawatan kuasa insyaAllah akan cuba membacakan soalan-soalan semasa sesi soal jawab selepas panel selesai perbincangan topik. Jadi seterusnya, pautan untuk anda mengisi kehadiran akan juga disediakan dalam kotak sembang pada akhir sesi hari ini, dan kegagalan anda berbuat demikian akan menyebabkan tiada kehadiran direkodkan dan akhirnya tiada e-sijil. Di atas kebaikan dan pertimbangan serta kerjasama anda bagi memastikan kelancaran webinar kami pada hari ini, sekian terima kasih diucapkan. Indah berbalam si awan petang, berarak di celah pepohon ara. Pemanis kalam, selamat datang, awal bismillah pembuka bicara. Melati kuntum tumbuh melata, sayang merebah di pohon cemara. Assalamualaikum dan salam sejahtera, saya sembah pembuka bicara. Selamat datang saya ucapkan kepada semua yang hadir pada hari ini di webinar Economic Challenge in the Global Economics, the ASEAN Experience. Yang saya hormati Dr. Siti Norma Awang Tuah, merupakan Ketua Pusat Pengajian Fakulti Pengurusan dan Perniagaan UiTM Cawangan Melaka, Kampus Alor Gajah. Puan Nur Arshikin Ada merupakan penyelaras program BA 119 Fakulti Pengurusan dan Perniagaan UiTM Cawangan Melaka, Alor Gajah. Panel jemputan kita iaitu Encik Abu Zaid bin Muhammad Arif merupakan Timbalan Pengarah Model Ekonomi dan Sektor Awam Bahagian Ekonomi Makro Kementerian Ekonomi. Seterusnya, panel kita yang kedua merupakan Dr. Desi Asianti, pensyarah program studi Universitas Management Fakulti Ekonomi dan Bisnes Universitas Trisakti Jakarta Indonesia. Dan panel kita yang terakhir merupakan Puan Nur Aini Fitria, itu Ibu Nurani Ardiani Aniko, merupakan Asisten Profesor Fakulti Ekonomi dan Bisnes Islam UIN Wali Songo, Semarang, Indonesia. Selamat datang saya ucapkan. Dan seterusnya, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan serta para hadirin yang saya hormati sekalian. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera dan salam UiTM di hatiku. Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban bikum. Welcome dan selamat datang kami ucapkan kepada semua tetamu yang hadir ke jemputan webinar Economic Challenge in the Global Economy for the ASEAN Experience. Kepada tetamu jemputan, saya persembahkan mawar di Taman Mekah nan indah, harum mewangi di rumpun angsana, kunjungan tuan puan anugerah bertuah seperti bulan jatuh ke riba. Garam ada, kicap pun ada, sayang lada terlupa lagi. Pantun ada, ucapan pun ada, sayang kita tidak berdoa lagi. Jadi sebelum meneruskan majlis kita pada hari ini, dengan segala hormatnya saya mempersilakan Muhammad Hilman bin Hasbiullah untuk memimpin bacaan doa. Dengan ini dipersilakan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi washabihi ajma'in. Allahumma ya Allah ya Rabbana, jadikanlah majlis hari ini webinar Economic Challenge Global Economics sebagai majlis ilmu yang bermanfaat guna menambah wawasan keilmuan kami, meningkatkan persaudaraan kami, meningkatkan semangat kami dalam beribadah serta memotivasikan hidup kami agar istiqamah di jalan kebenaran-Mu yang membuahkan hasil bermanfaat bagi kemaslahatan dan keselamatan dunia dan akhirat. Ya Rabbi ya Allah, redailah dan berkahilah acara kami ini. Rabbana la tuzigh qulubana ba'da idh hadaytana wa hab lana min ladunka rahmah innaka antal wahhab. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azabannar. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wasallam walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Amin amin ya rabbal alamin. Jazakallah diucapkan kepada Muhammad Hilman bin Hasbiullah atas pimpinan doa sebentar tadi. Moga majlis kita yang akan langsung pada hari ini insya-Allah akan berjalan dengan lancar insya-Allah. Seterusnya saya ingin menjemput Dr. Siti Nurma Awang Tuah merupakan Ketua Pusat Pengajian Fakulti Pengurusan Perniagaan UiTM Melaka bagi memberikan ucapan dan seterusnya merasmikan program kita pada hari ini. Dipersilakan Doktor.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan salam sejahtera. Terima kasih saya ucapkan kepada saudari pengurusi majlis Puan Maizatul Sa'diah dan juga pembaca doa kita tadi. Yang saya hormati juga Puan Rashikin Adam, Peneras Program untuk Jabatan Kewangan dan juga Ekonomi UiTM Cawangan Melaka. Yang berusaha panel-panel jemputan, panel pertama Tuan Abu Zaid bin Muhammad Arif, Timbalan Pengarah Model Ekonomi dan Akaun Sektor Awam Bahagian Ekonomi Makro Kementerian Ekonomi. Terima kasih saya ucapkan. Panel kedua Dr. Desi Asianti MM, Dosen Fakultas Ekonomi dan Bisnes Universitas Trisakti Jakarta. Panel ketiga Nur Aini Fitria Ardiani Aniko, MBA CFP, Assistant Professor Universiti Wali Songo, Semarang. Begitu juga barisan ahli jawatan kuasa program, para pensyarah yang hadir pada hari ini, serta yang dikasihi mahasiswa dan mahasiswi sekalian. petang ini bersempena dengan program kolaborasi pengajaran, teaching collaboration bagi kod ECO 261, iaitu webinar yang bertemakan Economic Challenge in the Global Economy, the ASEAN Experience. It's a good topic ya. Topik yang sangat signifikan ya, saya lihat berkenaan dengan cabaran-cabaran ekonomi dan juga lebih kepada ekonomi global ya. Terlebih dahulu saya juga mengucapkan salam tahniah ucapkan kepada ketua projek ya, Puan Mazatul Sadiah binti Muhammad dan AJK Pensyariah yang terlibat. Alright. Dan saya melihat hasrat untuk mengadakan kerjasama atau kolaboratif melalui pengajaran adalah amat digalakkan bagi memperluaskan lagi perkongsian ilmu dan pengalaman dari pakar-pakar peringkat kementerian penggubal dasar serta dari universiti luar, begitu juga daripada pihak industri daripada luar. Sinergi kerjasama ni saya harapkan dapat dicapai melalui webinar atau aktiviti bagi meluaskan lagi pemikiran pelajar supaya peka kepada isu semasa. Dan ini merupakan keperluan mereka apabila keluar atau tamat daripada pengajian nanti. Saya melihat collaborative teaching ini sangat signifikan ya, daripada industri kepada IPT ya, daripada IPT kepada industri ya, dan juga daripada IPT kepada IPT ya, pusat-pusat pengajian ya, kepada pelajar-pelajar dan juga kepada pensyarah. Pelajar-pelajar pada saya akan didedahkan dengan begitu banyak information ya, yang mana akan menyebabkan pelajar-pelajar nanti aware ya, dia create awareness from the knowledge dan dia mengubah kepada sifat dan attitude kita. So insyaAllah saya mengharapkan daripada program dan perkongsian pada hari ini pelajar-pelajar ya, yang hadir semasa apakah cabarannya dan bagaimana kita menanganinya, insyaAllah. Sebab mereka, pelajar-pelajar ni akan keluar satu masa nanti ya, akan bekerja juga pada di industri-industri luar nanti. So akhir kata, marilah kita memohon kepada Allah Subhanahu Wa Taala agar dipanjangkan lagi umur, diberikan kesihatan dan diilhamkan ilmu pengetahuan serta idea baru untuk menjalankan kerjasama ini, insyaAllah. Setinggi-tinggi penghargaan dan terima kasih kepada semua AJK pelaksana. Saya akhiri ucapan ini dengan pantun juga ya. Pohon berangan tempat bertemu, girangnya rasa si anak dara. Baliklah tuan, membawa ilmu, binalah bangsa, bangunkan negara. Merdu bertingkah alunan suara, kadang tak sedar tersilap kata. Andai terlanjur patah bicara, serendah hati kemaafan dituta. Dengan Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, saya merasmikan program pada hari ini insyaAllah. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih saya ucapkan kepada Dr. Siti Norma Awang Tuah kerana sudi merasmikan program webinar kita pada hari ini. Jadi tanpa melengahkan masa, saya ingin menyerahkan majlis kepada moderator kita iaitu Profesor Madya Dr. Muhammad Saladin Abdul Rasul. Dipersilakan Prof.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dengar tak suara saya?
Dengar.
Dengar.
Alhamdulillahirrahmanirrahim. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Yang saya muliakan ketua program kita pada hari ini iaitu Dr. Siti Norma dan juga ke semua panel-panel kita, iaitu yang pertama Encik Abu Zaid bin Muhammad Arif, Timbalan Pengarah Bahagian Ekonomi Makro EPU Jabatan Perdana Menteri. Kedua, Dr. Daisy SME, pensyarah atau dosen Program Study Management Fakultas Ekonomi dan Bisnes Universitas Trisakti Jakarta. Dan panel ketiga kita ada Puan Nur Aini Fitria Ardiani Anikoh, Assistant Professor daripada UIN Wali Songo, Fakulti Ekonomi dan Bisnes Islam. Jadi saya pertamanya mengucapkan selamat datang kepada ketiga-tiga panel dan kita akan membicarakan satu tajuk yang agak umum tetapi signifikan, yang tajuknya yang diberi adalah Economic Challenges in the Global Economy, the ASEAN Experience. So we don't have all the representative from each countries in ASEAN, but we do have two key players, one representative from Malaysia and two from Indonesia. So kita ada satu wakil daripada Malaysia dan dua daripada Indonesia. Dan saya untuk Malaysia memanglah Encik Abu Zaid akan berikan senario Malaysia. Dan kemudian untuk Indonesia saya serahkan kepada Dr. Daisy dan juga Puan Nur Aini. Sama ada mereka nak, mungkin pandangan mereka pun berbeza-beza. Sekiranya mereka nak cross lebih sikit pun boleh. Jadi pada hari ini sesi kita ada agak bebas. You can talk about Malaysia, you can talk about Indonesia, and if you want to talk about other countries within ASEAN is also okay. But our time is quite limited. Okay. Jadi untuk perjalanan program kita pada hari ini, kita akan membuat dua pusingan yang akan disampaikan oleh kesemua panel. Jadi kita berikan setiap panel 5 hingga 10 minit untuk setiap satu pusingan. The first round, each panel will talk about 5 to 10 minutes. If you want to use slides, you're welcome. Or you want to talk freely, is also you're welcome. Okay, but I'm informed that most of you have the PowerPoint, so we welcome you in whatever ways you are comfortable. Okay, so we will have the first round, and then we'll have the second round. The first round, we will talk about the current scenario or the present scenario or the previous scenario in ASEAN regarding the ASEAN challenges, the economic challenges. And then in the second round, we will talk about future challenges that we foresee that will be faced by countries in ASEAN. So we will have 2 rounds. And then after the 2 rounds, we will open to Q&A. And then after that, we will wrap up. So we will have about, I think, about 1 hour and 30 minutes or something like that. Okay. So, however, we are not that strict today. We're not stringent in our program today, so we are quite free. But I would like to remind the speakers just to speak within the stipulated time so that we do not go too long. Okay. So, without further ado, I call upon Cik Abu Zaid bin Muhammad Arif, Timbalan Pengarah Bahagian Ekonomi Makro, to start his presentation, and he will talk about the current challenges of economic challenges in the global economy from the ASEAN perspective, maybe more towards the Malaysian scenario. Please welcome upon Cik Abu Zaid.
Assalamualaikum semua. Thank you Prof. Madia, Dr. Saladin, and fellow panelists. So I will be spending like between 5 to 10 minutes. So mainly I will be talking about the our own Malaysian economy. So if you could share the slides, please. So while we wait for the slides, let me just give a brief introduction about where Malaysia is at the moment in terms of the overall economy. So as like any other country here within the region, the economic structure is quite similar. Say like if you compare with let's say like countries like Thailand, Philippines, Vietnam and such. So all of us are like basically open trading nations, okay, which means that anything which is currently going on in the world will have some impact on these economies, okay. So is it okay if I try to share my insights? I can try that. Is it okay?
Doktor boleh Doktor boleh masukkan slide sendiri tak sekejap? Ada masalah sekejap. Saya tengah cuba.
Sekejap, saya cuba boleh?
Boleh. Tolong cuba je sekejap saya try.
Okay.
Doktor cuba juga Sekejap saya.
Okay, nampak ke? Nampak ke?
Sekejap. Okay, nampak.
Okay. So the thing is, so when I share my screen, I can't really see everyone else lah. Okay. So today I'll be talking about the overall Malaysian economy, the current status, prospects and challenges. Okay. So so for the first round, I will talk about so the first 2 points here, which is mainly talking about the world economy, which includes ASEAN, of course. Then our own economy, the Malaysian economy, plus the key issues and challenges. Okay. So first off, so at the moment, heightened geopolitical risks are it's like the key factor, which is causing a lot of economic issues everywhere. Okay, so it's not just Malaysia, but it's like everywhere. So this is since early last year. So this was mainly driven by the war. Sorry, but because of the current conflict in Ukraine. Okay, then plus the post-pandemic pickup in demand, because for the past 2 years, since 2020 to roughly 2021, there was not much pickup in demand because of COVID, right? So once all of the movement controls have been lifted, so so there's this sudden surge in demand, okay, which have led to the high prices in crude oil among them, as well as tighter interest rates in many economies. So at the moment, so in terms of the world economic forecast, so this is the most current forecast that we have. So for this year and the next, so world growth would be like between 2.7 to 3%, which would be mainly driven by the ASEAN region, plus China, of course. So in the table here, over here, you can see there's the numbers for Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, as well as Vietnam. So as you can see, in terms of the growth for the past 2 years, in 2020 and 2021, growth has somewhat picked up, but starting from this year, last year, sorry, I keep on masih lupa, now dah 2023. So so last year there was a slight pickup in our growth in Malaysia, which is quite similar, as you can see, as in Thailand, Vietnam. Okay, so these are among the current challenges lah that we face. So talking about Malaysia, so what's different about our own economy in Malaysia? We have somewhat survived every possible downturn in the past. Okay, so from the chart here, since 1971 until now, we have gone through six downturns, but every time we have always managed to rebound. Okay, almost next year. Okay, then in terms of overall growth, so Malaysia has always outpaced the growth of the world economy. Okay, Then in terms of as of quarter three of last year, so GDP, so GDP is the main indicator when it comes to measuring um, overall growth. Okay, so in terms of GDP growth, so in Q3 overall economy, so so uh, so it grew by 14.2%, okay, which is very very high. Okay, as you can see, since 2019, quarterly growth has always been around single digits. And then going into 2020 and 2021, there was some negative numbers. But as of Q3, uh, I mean, uh, sorry, since Q4 of 2021, growth has managed to pick up again. Okay, so in terms of Malaysia's macroeconomic fundamentals, so fundamentals typically we would talk about prices, right? Uh, so this is where in Malaysia we have always had low and stable inflation, as well as low level of unemployment since 1992, except during the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay. Then furthermore, Malaysia has always been among the key places to invest. Okay. So in terms of growth, so in Malaysia, it was mainly driven by high demand. So this is where people have gone out, to the malls. They spend, they buy food, they buy some of the items. Maybe for some of you, like you buy phones or something, iPads, tablets. Okay. Then secondly, overall growth in Q3 was also supported by by good labor market. So this is where in terms of jobs, there was some pickup, okay, in the labor market, and then there was some increase in wages. Okay, then on top of that, there's this continued pick up in in demand for our goods. So this is where exports have has increased a lot. Okay, particularly for E&E products, which is electrical and apa ni? Sorry, EE products, uh, electrical and apa ni? Electronics, okay, as well as petroleum products. So, but in the background, so like for the past 3 years, there has been a lot of government stimulus, right? So this is where the government has spent roughly around 530 billion ringgit, okay, to help to boost the Malaysian economy, partly to limit the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, then there's also been the increase in the terms of tourism, because the tourism sector in Malaysia is among the biggest contributors to growth, which is why once we open the our borders, there's this sudden jump in the apa ni, number of tourists coming in. And I think starting from this weekend, I think there'll be some more tourists from China. But I know there's a lot of debate over the Chinese tourists, but maybe we can save that for later. Okay. So in terms of external sector, it's still strong. Okay, which leads to the pickup in global demand. So, okay. In terms of the labor market, so maybe this would be of some interest for some of the uh, people here today. So, unemployment rate has improved, to 3.7% as of the third quarter of last year, compared to 3.9% in the second quarter of last year. At its peak during the COVID-19 pandemic, unemployment shot up until roughly 4.5% or 4.6% in 2020. So now it has improved a lot. Okay. But the one of the key challenges at the moment, and going into the future, when it comes to the Malaysian uh, job markets, if you see the data on the right here, so in terms of the vacancies and the apa ni, retrenchment. So in terms of those who are being laid off from their jobs, it is they mostly involve skilled and semi-skilled workers. But in terms of the job openings, it's mainly focused on the low skilled and semi-skilled jobs. So this is where the government is currently coming up with measures to address this. Okay. So this is again a continuation of the labor market segment. So in terms of wages, so as you can see on the right hand of the chart. So in terms of the wages in both the manufacturing and services sectors, so it is indeed picking up. Okay, it is picking up. So apa ni, so these two sectors are the two biggest ones in the country. Okay, so the rest is construction, mining, and agriculture. Okay. Okay, so I think for the past few months, there's a lot of debate over the currency. Uh, so I think it's good to actually understand what is the what's actually causing the dip in our currency. Okay, so first off, if you look at the chart on the left here, so this is where we compare the trend between the exchange rate, which is the line in red. I think. Sorry, I'm colorblind. And then brand is blue. I think. Okay, so from from January until early of apa ni, last year, there was this similar trend, right? Where you can see the trend for Brent crude oil, which is the main uh, benchmark for Malaysia when it comes to apa ni, measuring the price of crude oil. So so the trend has been the same. So like if Brent is going down, so our currency would also be coming down. But starting from roughly February of last year, there was this break in the trend. So why? So mainly because of two things. First off is this a policy of tighter US interest rates. Okay. And then secondly, it is because of the conflict in Ukraine, which actually started in February, okay, last year. Right. So in terms of the international reserves, we still have enough foreign currency to cover our imports. Okay. But if you can see here, there's like it's like this sudden drop in the apa ni retail imports super ratio. So this one I mean this is fine because we just changed the apa ni, definition of retail imports. I mean that's all. Okay, but other than that, we are the is overall is still fine. Okay, then this is in terms of tourist arrivals, of course. In terms of the numbers and travel receipts is basically the spending by tourists. So of course, for in 2020 and in 21, because of the lockdowns and it's not just in Malaysia but everywhere. So the tourist numbers, uh, you know, collapsed basically. Okay, but moving forward, so we expect that in terms of growth, there's still strong um, demand within our markets, then of course supported by exports as well. Okay, but anyhow, anything that the government is doing, in terms of spending, we will always ensure that we have to take into account the impact on the people. Okay. Okay. So how many minutes is that? So um, uh, ada lagi masa ke dah terlebih dah? Saya tak sure.
Terlebih dah. Tapi kita simpan untuk second round.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you, Abu Zaid. Okay, he has given us the insights and what have happened in Malaysia for the last 12 months. Okay, now I call upon Dr. Daisy to present her views on economic challenges in Indonesia. Okay, Dr. Daisy, please.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Salahuddin. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for UITM Malacca for inviting me in this event, a great event, I think, yeah. Webinar here and topic also. It was a great topic, I think, because it think about the Asian perspective, Asian's experience regarding about several countries, including in here. So, because my background is about the human resource management, is my field also. So I will focus for the HR strategy, focusing for how to make it increasing the quality of HR in the future. And of course, we will look forward for the Asian challenge, yeah, and also I think there is several strategies that I will giving to all of you. Thank you so much to all the colleagues, to all the audience, and especially with Dr. Akma for my lovely colleagues to invite me here. Okay, I will start it with the refreshment about the ASEAN itself that was established around 67, and then I think the founding fathers about the five countries, yeah, and we have all the countries. They have several aims, yeah, for ASEAN itself. First is regarding about the equality, yeah, and also social justice, and regarding about also the collaboration between countries, and of course about how to elaborate all the studies, yeah, and of course we will look for the societies to be increasing their research, their development, and the other thing is about how to encourage further cooperation between each countries. So if we look for these aims, I think people's oriented here, and then it is impossible if we doesn't include the people or human resource. Yeah, I think all the aims impossible to be done. So we all of us knowing about the situation pandemic COVID 2020, and then it is rock the world. Yeah, it was rock the world, and then everybody has changed with everything. Yeah, and also ASEAN, they have the blueprint, and the latest one is around 2020. We'll look for the blueprint 2025, and then if we encourage for all the each of the situation that regarding about the blueprint here, it is envisage the further deepen economic integration and also achieving an integrated with the characteristic of first about the how we can increasing highly integrated for all aspects, not only economic but also social, demography, and also the indicator of economic itself. Second one, regarding about the competitive innovative. So this is the real thing that everybody can create something, yeah, to achieve better performance. Yeah, and then the third one regarding about the connectivity, how to integrate, how to develop, because when we got the pandemic COVID, so uh, the situation must be changed. Yeah, all the companies must surviving back again and then growing again. Yeah, I think it is the time for us to develop and then to achieving again the sustainability. So this is one of the blueprint, take it down. And also about the resilience, innovative, how to make it the new thing in this new normal era. But all the companies maybe they will reborn again, but all the things must be settled up with the new things, new equipment, new people here that they can interrelated with each other. And the last thing, how to set up for the global competition, global activities, yeah, that could be support, yeah, for each countries to develop themselves and also to improve the world. And I think if we talk about the economic growth for the next 2 years, 2021, 2022, and also 2023, I think now we will growing up until 5% for the percentage. But since we know everybody knows about the war in Europe, yeah, I think it is very hard. It is our all of our problems how to struggling up with this growing of the economic factor. But since the indicator of the macroeconomics, I think everything's are changed, and then we know that high inflation, how the strategy and how the price of commodity and also the monetary policy stance. I think it is homework for all of us to manage to re-strategy, and then of course to make it better for the situation. And then if we talk about the house, the government effort, yeah, for improving this situation, I think if we talk about the case of equality, there are three main questions, yeah, that will be exist here. First, what is the big issue actually? Second one, if we talk about the policymaker, what are the prioritized? And the third one, if we talk about the instrument, what kind of instrument for that? No. So I will go with the one by one of these three questions. First, the big issue. Of course, the big issue is about how the inequality becoming the equality. We know that if we talk about people, workforce, there are three kinds of issues. First, about informal workers. They are working, but they are not insecure with their job. The compensation, of course, they are not getting the stable compensation. Second one about the woman, genders, related about the gender gap. Yeah, we know that some countries still taking for the gender considerations. So it is hard for the woman to take for the same position. And the third one related with the youth generation. Youth generation, they can work, they are very close with the technologies gadget, but how they can survive with that, how they can think universally, think consider with all the generation inside the office, inside the company. So how they can work together with all the people. Sometimes, yeah, there will be like a problem regarding about that. So this kind of thing should be managed to the equality. Now, and then if you come to the second question regarding about the policymaker prioritize, we know that there are three prioritize. Yeah, actually, many or more than these three kinds, but the third top up for that is the first one about healthcare. Healthcare. Now, all of us need to be health, right? And we know vaccination and also how we can uh, maintain our protocol of healthy. I think this is one point of this healthcare policy making. So the second one, education. People actually they have to learning and learning, no stop for education, and then increasing their knowledge, their skill, experience. This is regarding about the point of education. And also social protections, of course, how to maintain everyone societies in the one countries that make them can yeah, communicate each other, can live together between one to another. So this is not only depend on the technologies, but any aspects, yeah, and also with their habits, with their cultures. It is with relates with the social protection, how the government, the the employer will make them feel secure with the situation inside or outside the company. Okay, next we go to the challenge here. If we talk about the instrument to manage there, I think okay, this one. I think first of all we have to look for any aspect strategically how this human resource will be like uh, uh, potential, yeah, increasing their qualities of work, yeah, how they can increasing their competency, how they can increasing or achieving the company's objectives, yeah. And yeah, of course the company itself, the management of the company should give them any um, stable education like training, and then how they can give the opportunity to uh, how they can implement their idea, they can achieving their innovation. Now this kind of thing will be like several things that this is not what the management or the government homework, but it will start it from ourselves, from the individual. So are we ready for that? Are we ready for the equality? Equality will become not only for our status, but the most important thing is, can we work with the good or properly steps, properly rules, and then we can achieving better and better results, yeah, to present to the company and to the world itself. I think this is my first session, yeah, and then for the next session I will go or can continue with the HR case in Indonesia specifically. Thank you very much, Dr. Saladin.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Daisy,
Yes.
for your excellent presentation, very clear. Okay, and Dr. Daisy was talking more towards the macro, the global perspective. Now I call upon Puan Nuraini Fitisha Aldiani to further elaborate on our subject matter for today. Please, Dr. Nuraini, Puan Nuraini.
Ya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for UITM Malacca that inviting me to be speaker in this very good opportunity in the webinar economic challenge in the global economy, the ASEAN experience. To Professor Madya Dr. Ismadi, MD Badarudin, Timbalan Rektor Hal Ehwal Akademik UITM Cawangan Malacca, who I respect, and then to moderator Profesor Madya Dr. Muhammad Saladin Abdul Rasul, to Enci Abu Zaid bin Muhammad Arif, and to Dr. Desi Asienti. Thank you very much. Let me to share my PowerPoint first. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Sorry. I think. Yeah. In this opportunity, I would like to explain about the global economy challenge in the global economic challenge in the global economy, maybe with from the world to the Indonesian. Uh, Okay, next, the recovery continue amid global headwind. The key message from here is, we know about the Russian invasion, like with Ukraine, has had uncertainty and unsettled commodity market, and then we talk about the pandemic crisis, followed with the Omicron variant that we know that COVID-19 giving a very big influence to the world, especially in ASEAN also, in Indonesia, but in Malaysia, and then developing the Asia rebound by 6.9% in 2021, and then GDP in the region will expand by 5.2% in 2022 and 5.3% in 2023, and then domestic demand and a solid export, and then inflation will rise to 3.7% in 2022 and 3.1 in 2023. And next is the geopolitical uncertainty and commodity price that maybe the previous Mr. Abu Zaid after talk about it, and I just want to maybe just summarize about it, because geopolitics I think is quite important for economy. Between geography and the politic and economy is connected each other. That's why if we can talk about the past, maybe if we can see about the graphic in 1985, there was a lot of very big event, incident like the Gulf War, and then US bombing of Libya, and then 1911 with the the bombing for the twin tower in the Pentagon, and then Iraq war, London bombing, and then Paris attack, US Iran tension, and last year is Russian invasion of Ukraine. Of course, it's very big very big impact for economy, that we know that it will very influence for the commodity, also for oil or crude oil, because the price for the crude oil will be very rise from the January to October because of this incident. As we know that maybe we can overcome it. We can overcome this problem if the country can maybe if they can choose for the peaceful, but actually when it cannot happen, so it will be very influent for the world, especially because world is very depends on the oil, and it's about the how we can make the very good for the supply chain, but because of this condition, so it's very influent for the supply chain, and it will be very impact for the price for the commodity and the crude oil. But hopefully in the next 2023 it will be better, and the price for the oil will be decreased. And the second is the challenge about the Omicron impact on the region that has been limited. As we know that pandemic COVID-19 is giving very big issue for the world. It's not only for the world but also for Indonesia. But Indonesia and Malaysia, there were a lot of the COVID-19 kinds such as Delta, Alpha, and the very massive kinds of the COVID-19 is Omicron. So the Omicron massive is maybe the Omicron is not dangerous as a Delta, because Delta has have a very big impact with the death a lot of the human being in the world. And I think for the Omicron, maybe for the still rather low, but still for the spread is very massive, and it's influenced the world from the April 22 until now. For the Omicron is with the highest for the patient from the Omicron in January 2022. So it happened in the world, European, developing Asia, and US. So of course, it will be very influential to the economic remain. So like a purchasing manager index, which is the economic remain relatively open, so the economic activity soften but continue to expand in early 2022. It's about the purchasing index manufacturing. We can see from the quarter one to quarter four in 2021, and uh, the the data, the news data from the forecast 2023 to 2024, which is Indonesia around 5%, more than 5%. I think it's quite safe uh, for the for the purchasing managers index, because I think it is very important, and it is very very important for us to know about it, which is if we know the purchasing managers index. So the investor, maybe they can invest based on the data, and then they can know about the commodity and so on. And the next about the export, which is the developing Asia saw an even but strong recovery last year. So this is the data, the varying degree growth bounce back in the most for the region from the last year. It's from the developing Asia. Maybe the data, maybe the graphic is not really it's not really good, but in if we can to compare to 2019 and 2019, but in the initial COVID-19 is 2022, and then after that and will be better in 2021 to 2022. So the graphic is steadily rose. So I think it is quite good for the stabilize for the for the developing Asia for the recovery. And we can see about the inflation also, like Dr. Abu Zaid explained. And I think that this is inflation in the region increase in the late 2021. It will be very we will be faced for the inflation maybe in 2023 too, because stay relatively low compared to rest of the world, but where inflation is surge. So you can see between the January to the July from the 29, the graphic is for the graphic is up and down, and still steadily up. And then we can see for the developing Asia for percentages year on year, maybe is still low than for the Latin America, like emerging or developing country for the inflation. And about the tightening global financial condition have led to high risk premium and portfolio outflow. Also, the because of the like previous I explained about the Russian invasion of Ukraine. So also it's employing for the condition, except for the China, that the region recorded a net portfolio outflow, while foreign direct investment remain to the resilient. And we can see the policy is still supportive, but the region is on the cusp of the tightening the cycle, which is the budget balance will improve this year and next, but fiscal deficit will remain larger than pre-pandemic level. So fiscal impulse forecast over 2022 to 2023, you can see from this from every single country in here, like in Singapore, like in Malaysia and Indonesia. And also this one is the monetary stance is still accommodative, but the some central bank have already started to hiking rates. This is one of the challenge in policy interest rates. As we know in Indonesia, I think for interest rate is still low than before, maybe for SBI or suku bunga Indonesia for deposito and so on is still maybe around 2% until 3% is very lower than before. So I think it just very some investor that want to invest the money to the market. And this is the GDP growth in developing country in Asia will continue to be strong, which is the inflation will rise. And this is the data from the ASEAN Development Outlook database. And we can see for Indonesia, maybe the prediction from 3.7 with the from the initial pandemic 2021 will be increased into 5%, and hopefully in the next 2023, I mean in here will be increased to 5.2%, which is good. And this is, and Malaysia too is good also. So hopefully this is the inflation forecast in developing Asia will still moderate, so regional inflation will increase. And actually, this is energy bill will rise for oil and gas importer, while exporter will gain from the higher price. Still because of the Russian invasion of Ukraine also. And since the impact of faster hikes in the U.S. interest also, like the Fed fund rate increase further than the baseline, and inflation could accelerate as exchange rate depreciative along with the capital outflow. And the focus finding for Indonesia is from Indonesia economy accelerate 3.7% the end of 2021 as the country stop off from the COVID Delta wave. So this momentum for the continue in early 2022 at 5%. So which is it is very good for Indonesia because today also Indonesia is very focused for the economic in the digital economy. It's very massive for financial technology also. In this, higher energy prices increase agriculture costs, resulting in higher food price. So, cooking oil and other food price have also shot up due to the global supply shortage and rising demands. And then the budget also deficit narrow in 2021 from the 6.1% of GDP in 2022 to 4.6% in 2021. But thanks to recovery in the revenue and showing expenditure, so government debt level rose slightly from 38.6% of GDP to 40.7%. And then the Indonesia economy is projected to accelerate at 5.1% in 2022 and 5.3 due to the release of the ramp up the demands, improve consumer confidence, and improve term of the trade. So it is quite important also. And inflation is projected to rise to 3.6%. And also for structural reform, as area could play a big role in simulating the economy tax reform to enlarge quality public spending, prioritizing business enabling environment for micro, small, and medium enterprise also. And also they're thinking about trade policy to develop greener downstream industry and depending the financial sector, and also to growing institutional investor base and ensuring the access to digital financial service, because digital financial service is quite massive in Indonesia. Like I talk about the digital economy, financial technology, it's quite good and very very massive in Indonesia, and one of uh, to help Indonesia to recover from for the uh, for the economic or from the COVID-19. And then digital finance like competition and sound financial infrastructure play to key role in efficient resource allocation by channeling saving into the most productive investment opportunity in a less costly, faster, safer, and more transparent way. So I think the last slide from me about and finding on Indonesia's economy. And for the session one, I think is enough. Thank you so much from Dr. Muhammad Saladin. Thank you. Wabillahi taufik wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you, Ibu. Okay, since we have taken quite a time, so I think in the second round we'll continue and we give the speakers to further elaborate whatever they were discussing, and then also we can wrap up straight the session for each of the speaker. So I call again Cik Abu Zaid to continue his discussion.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Madia, Doctor. So, so I believe so the time is still 10 minutes or
Yeah,
shorter? 10 minutes, okay.
Okay.
Thank you. So let me just show my slides. Okay, can you see the slides?
Okay, right.
Okay. So so to sort of like summarize the key challenges facing Malaysia, which also applies to ASEAN as well, I believe. So so sort of in a nutshell. So there's like two types of challenges, that we currently face. One is at the overall level in the world economy, and then secondly is Malaysia. So of course, in terms of the global economy, of course, there's still COVID-19 around. Okay, so with the latest opening of the borders in China, of course, there's some concern there. Okay, in terms of the actual number of cases, and how it could affect other countries there. I mean, yeah. So then, secondly, is the geo political conflict. In this slide, so I mentioned the Ukraine and Russia conflict. But if we think about the overall global supply chain, it runs from the east to the west. And so from China down to Southeast Asia, and then to India, and then to Europe, and then to the US. So if there's anything that could impact that particular supply chain, of course, everyone will be hit in terms of the economy. So which includes ASEAN, of course. So in terms of the that sort of risk, the geopolitical risk, which could affect this particular supply chain, would be such as uh, the between China and Chinese Taipei, of course. And secondly is the between in the south in the north Korea. And then thirdly is the I would say uh, competing claims in the South China Sea. Okay, all right. So all of that would also have a secondary impact in terms of the global commodity prices like crude oil, palm oil, and such like wheat. Okay, so of course the current conflict in Ukraine has been, it's, I think now it's almost a year since it started, and there's no signs of it coming to an end. So that's one of the key concerns going going forward. Okay, in terms of the tighter monetary policies, which was already mentioned by some of the panelists here. So of course that is actually because of the conflicts. Okay, right? Because a lot of the in the hike in prices is because of food prices. Okay, so from there we go into the Malaysia's own sort of key challenges. So of course, the main one is prices. So like over the past few months or so, the price of chicken, eggs, there's a shortage of supply for some goods. Then secondly, of course, is the level of apa ni? I mean the jobs in Malaysia is yet to be as the pre pandemic levels. Okay, then thirdly is the limited fiscal space. Okay, so this issue of limited fiscal space is not just in Malaysia, but it's almost in every country around the world. Mainly because of the COVID-19 pandemic, where every government had to spend. Okay, they had to spend because they had to support the economy. But because of that, it led to increase of the government fiscal deficit, and then of course higher debt. Okay, so in the case of Malaysia, our fiscal space, which mainly so we look at the in terms of the debt in Malaysia, in terms of the federal government debt. So it's been quite high. So we need to somehow lower our deficit, okay, in terms of our fiscal balance. So either we try to manage our spending, or we try to boost our government revenue. But but those two are not easy to manage. Okay, then there's two more things I would like to add here, which is not in the slides. Which so the other one is on climate change. Okay, as you know, everyone can see, for the past how many years, there's a lot of apa ni, extreme events like floods, and all that. So the world has to do better in terms of trying to cut down the greenhouse gases, because that affects the climate. So which has led to a lot of uh, you know um, apa ni, extreme weather events. Okay, so this is where governments have to sort of balance between, in terms of apa ni, and the use of fuel. Either we use fossil fuel, or we use apa ni, renewables. Okay, so that's something that governments have to weigh, because it's not that easy to make that apa ni, energy apa, transition. Okay, then finally is the in terms of this sudden jump in apa ni, apa, digital apa, transformation, okay, apa, globally. So because of the COVID-19 pandemic, a lot of these apa, digital efforts have been pushed through a bit quickly in some areas, a bit too quick maybe. So that has led to a lot of issues like apa ni, data privacy, security and all that. So that's something that it might not have a direct impact on the economy, but it does have uh, you know it has some apa ni, influence in terms of consumer behavior. Okay, so all right, I think I just leave it there for now. Thank you, Prof. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I think Cik Abu Zaid have quite summarized actually what is the uh, impact. They have give two impact, internal and external impact. I think that's good enough for us to gauge the impact to Malaysia. Okay, now we go to Dr. Daisy to further listen her views on our subject matter. Please, Dr. Daisy.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Saladin. I think it is very interesting to hear from what Enci Abu Zaid and also Ibu Nur Aini talking about. But since I still standing in my scope, yeah, with the HR focus and strategy, so yeah, I think we are realized that this situation is not easy to improve it, because including the Indonesian itself, our country with the many total population, yeah, more than 200,000 million people, and then uneven distributing or all the people in every province, around 33 province in Indonesia. So we are with the strongly evolved how to make the open unemployment, for example, to make it full working, because the workforce are not in the full employment. So this is the homework, the big homework for our government, for all of us, yeah, to make it all the productive age people becoming the full time for working, and then they can achieving some things, yeah, and then giving the contribution to the country. And if we relates with the pandemic situation, many companies are closed, and then they do determination for their people, their employees, and then many people lose their job, and how they can start again. So it is all the situations, yeah, that company now doing the survival again, and then try to develop, try to grow again, and then achieving the peak, and also going to the sustainability. So all the terminated people, all the people with the categorized of open unemployment, this is the homework for all of us to make it. They got the job, they get the not informal but formal sector, formal worker. And due to this situation, I think we have to do some strategies. And then what are the strategies? Please, next slide. There are two main strategies, yeah, for the HR itself regarding about these issues. The first one is human resource strategy based on competency, and the second one, sustainable human resource management. If we go down to the first one, next, please. We all of us knowing about the competency, right? Competency means we use our knowledge, skill, our behavior to do the job, to finish our jobs properly. Yeah, but this is not only our individual effort, but also all the people in the company, and also all the external, internal factors, yeah, that could be relates with this situation. Now, we know that the human resource management consists several practices, started from how they can recruit people. Yeah, they can let people join with the company, and then at one time people will leave this company. So all the process, including the compensation, development, integration, and then also the maintenance, they have to switch, yeah, with the business strategy, and then they can perform well until they can achieving all the strategies with the good results. So competencies, this is not only how we can need, yeah, to all aspects, yeah, for the activities, for the working, or for the job itself, but also coming from the people itself, their ability, traits, their norm, their experience. This is very important also for this competency. And the second one, sustainability human resource management, I think it is how we can integrate three basics, yeah, basic factors. First from individual, second one from the social responsibility, and the third one from the all aspect regarding about the countries itself. I mean, economic factors, economic competitions. Yeah, so starting from the people, starting from the human resource. If the human resource is properly qualified, professional, I think they can develop. Not only working in the company, but also they can give the contribution to the countries, and there will be like changes, good changes for the countries. I think it is will same with other countries wherever they are. Yeah, since we have got the people, we maintain them, we make them professional. I think it's enough from me, Dr. Saladin. We will be back to you. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, uh, Dr. Daisy. She has summarized two main strategies from the human resource perspective in facing this crisis. So now we go to Ibu Nur Aini Fitria, and we listen to her points.
Okay,
Welcome.
thank you so much. Okay, I will continue my presentation. Sorry, I think it's rather difficult for me to. Okay, I've got to share this presentation. Okay, this is for the future economic challenge. If we can say about ASEAN Mature actually itself consists of the three important elements, namely the strengthening of the ASEAN capacity and effectiveness, ASEAN unity, and ASEAN centrality. As we know that ASEAN centrality must be maintained, it is hoped that the 10 ASEAN member countries will continue to act like one ASEAN. And in 2023, Indonesia will again become the chair on ASEAN for the fourth time after 1976, 23, and 2011 by becoming the chair of ASEAN in 2023. So Indonesia has the opportunity to sharpen the concept of centrality so that it is really clear amidst the competition of the big country in the world area. So strengthening ASEAN centrality is a non-negotiable condition so the ASEAN remain relevant as a locomotive for resolving various conflict of interest among major countries in the region. ASEAN must be able to maintain its identity as a guardian of stability and peace not only for its member countries but also for the wider Indo-Pacific region. This means ASEAN must develop consensus on the key issue, take the lead and coordinate collective action at the ASEAN summit in Phnom Penh on 14 November 2022, where President Joko Widodo has clearly signaled that the future direction of ASEAN policy by reminding the ASEAN should not become an arena for the rivalries of big countries, but instead must become the center of diplomatic activity for Indo-Pacific. So I think it is quite important for the ASEAN centrality and the epicentrum of growth is related to ASEAN role as the center of regional. It consists of four important elements like health architecture is quite have to be very quite good because we learned from the pandemic COVID-19 when the world is very is very panic with the COVID-19. So the ASEAN try to improve it and with they anticipated with the health architecture and then energy security like in the G20 one of the energy security like sustainability economy and then focus on green energy and because it is quite important for to make into the green economy and then food security and financial stability is also quite important and then ASEAN economic outlook is the in the region will remain one of the fastest growing region of the world in 2022, but economic growth will likely fall marginally from 2022. So this is largely due to the worsening global economic condition. And the second half of the year will likely see conditions that are more conducive to organic growth as falling inflation provide central bank with greater rate flexibility. I think it's quite important because this should be complement increasing economic activity like in China. And then the ASEAN region will remain attractive to foreign direct investment (FDI) because it's quite important with the trend in commercial and state investment likely to remain consistent throughout the year, like despite more challenging in the macroeconomic environment. And we can see about the ASEAN position today is ASEAN nation could benefit from the privilege in the geopolitics again the position in future years as the US China rivalry intensive and superpower set to the deepen tie in the region like but nation have highlighted their commitment to trade with ASEAN economy it's quite important ASEAN economic plus China that particularly through the access to the regional comprehensive economic or RCEP agreement and the comprehensive and progressive agreement and then for the Trans-Pacific Partnership and the US only has the free trade agreement with the selected ASEAN countries and then this superpower rivalry is not the only factor that could positively contribute to ASEAN growth in 2022 because several nations in the region have large international tourism sector because tourism sector is one of the most important industry one half the industry that can recover the COVID-19 for the economic recovery. So it's quite important. And then further improving epidemiological environment should contribute to the industry recovery in 2023. And if we can see, this is the GDP from the Goldman Sachs. Okay, we can see the Malaysia from the prediction and Indonesia maybe it's different like prior from because different from the institution, maybe different prediction, but it's just prediction, but hopefully it will be better than here. And again, the foreign direct investment is the most important thing, is quite important thing to boost for the economic in the every region or every country in the world. And Indonesia is the only G20 mentor in member in ASEAN, and with its abundance of natural resources and large domestic market of 260 million, the country offer long-term investment opportunity. It also happened in the Vietnam and also the other, you know, other the ASEAN countries like Thailand has been conscious recipient of Chinese investment for some times, which is the nation is the heart of the ASEAN bloc and is integral to the China's state plans to global connectivity as well as private investment. And then the former point is being addressed by the Belt and Road Initiative, where private investor is increasingly seeing Thailand an investment destination for initiative of crypto and then blockchain, artificial intelligence, and healthcare and medical tourism. That's why medical tourism or international tourism in one of the way we can boost our foreign direct investment. And then next, this is the prediction in 2023, which is the Malaysia, Philippines, and Thailand will likely see the tourism sector recover to pro-pandemic level in 2023. But doubt remain as to whether China's tourists will return immediately despite a recent removal of restriction. So in December, the Chinese Immigration Authority said it would resume issuing visa to maintain resident to travel overseas from January 8th. And then based on the data from the S&P Global Analysis, that the global slowdown will less impact on the domestic demand like economic such as Indonesia and Philippines and bad countries. And the organization predict will see the less 5% growth in 2023, and then prevailing economic condition like weakening growth and even recession in developed economy will reduce economic activity in demands in the ASEAN nation. And okay, this is I think the three pillars to strengthen Indonesia in economy and the financial sector is first is increase demand and supply of finance by increasing access and to usage of the financial service, broadening and improving the quality of financial market product and mobilizing for the long-term serving is quite important. And then improve allocation of resource to the financial sector by promoting competition in the banking sector, like strengthening in the insolvency framework and protecting consumer, and then also strengthening the capacity of financial system to withstand uh, financial and non-financial shock by strengthening the effective of financial sector oversight, like strengthening crisis preparedness and resolution framework and promoting climate and natural disaster related risk management. Thank you very much. I think is the conclusion from all of the my presentation. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Ibu Nuraini, and also thank you to all the panels for fruitful and a detailed discussion on the subject matter. Uh, but I would just like to conclude that we are facing uncertainties in the future, although there are a lot of predictions that we see that will happen in the coming time. In two to three, we see that there are many predictions, but there are many uncertainties, and we have seen that in the past, economic shocks have really have changed the situation of the world, and then also the non-economic shocks such as the pandemic, which came as a surprise to most of us, have definitely changed each of the countries, and the impact is still quite huge, and countries are still struggling to recover. And now also, as as Cik Abu Zaid mentioned just now, that we are also facing uh, current trend of the COVID, maybe with a new new kind of virus. So we are still facing a lot of uncertainties, and uncertainties will always get countries unprepared. So with the pandemic that have impacted countries from 2020 until now 2022, and now we are in 2023, we hope countries will learn the lesson better. Countries will learn the lesson better. So now I call upon the audiences, if they have any questions, for them to ask. So I open to the floor, and then we have our audiences from the students. I think about 200 students are with us today. They are sharing with us through the YouTube channel. So, Puan Maizatul, is there any questions so far?
Belum doktor, belum.
Okay.
Boleh kalau kita buat wrap up dulu lepas tu baru question? Sebab kita masih tengah tunggu soalan daripada pelajar.
Sebenarnya dah wrap up pun.
Oh, ya ke?
So tak apa,
Uh,
I will keep on
boleh
continue.
tambah sikit sementara saya nak tunggu dengan pelajar ni kejap
Okay,
ya.
so let me start the ball rolling. Okay, I think now, as I mentioned to you just now, that we are facing uncertainties. So, and then we have one thing is the COVID pandemic, which have not recovered fully yet. So that is one big issue. And secondly, we have this Ukraine-Russia conflict. I think I would like the panel to elaborate a bit on these two issues, how they are expected to further impact the country. Okay, I start with Cik Abu Zaid. If you have any ideas.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Madia, Doctor. So, in terms of the current conflict in Ukraine and Russia, so during the first few days or the first month of that particular conflict, many countries basically so we had to choose sides. Either you are with the US or you are not with the US, or that. So it was a bit tricky for everyone, but the good thing within the context of our region, ASEAN, we have always practiced this zone of kita ni lah neutral, okay, in like everything. Okay, so everyone everyone is nice with China, US, Russia, everyone. So so we don't take sides. So I think it's the same with other governments in the region. But in terms of shocks, so I think for the past few economic crisis, say starting from the 1997-98 crisis, the 2008 global financial crisis, and the most recent COVID-19 pandemic crisis. So what we can see is that governments need to be better prepared, for like any shocks. See, so like in the past, because of the Asian financial crisis, because in Malaysia, so back then we started to strengthen our financial sector. Then for this most recent COVID-19 pandemic, so this is where we put a lot of funds into our healthcare, right, sector. So we everyone needs to be prepared for the worst, I would say. So, but to do that, we need funding, right? We need funds. So we need given that given the limited fiscal space, across governments, so it is a bit of a challenge, trying to manage, all of these competing risks, I would say. So governments have to sort of make a choice, and that choice is quite difficult. I didn't want to, we need to sort of balance the risks. We need to balance and the risk to the economy and as well as to the people.
Okay, Cik
So,
Zaid, kita ada soalan.
okay.
Dr. Salim nak baca ke apa? Tu saya dah naik soalan.
Okay, there's a
daripada HPE.
question. Okay. What preparations or steps should ASEAN countries take to face the world economic challenges? I repeat, what preparations or steps should ASEAN countries take to face the world's economic challenges? So I think quite a general question. I start with Dr. Daisy. Maybe Dr. Daisy, you want to respond?
Okay, Dr. Saladin, you mean I respond with this question or I
Yeah, yeah.
give the closing first?
I think we respond with this question first.
Oh, okay. So regarding about this questions, thank you very much for someone who has given this question. Yeah, the preparation I think is too many preparation that we have to do. But starting from ourselves, yeah, individually, we have to more risk mitigate, yeah, or we have to learn much, yeah, by exploring, by doing by ourselves. So we know that if we have any problems, any difficulties, we try to overcome this. But we know that doing by ourselves individually is not enough. Yeah, so we have to do it together, collaborative, and then it depends on the management, also the government. They have to wrap it up again. So education, skill, and then norms, yeah, and then also the good culture of organization. I think this is the very basic things that we have to prepare. So starting from ourselves again. I think this is my question and my answer. Sorry. Thank you, Dr. Saladin.
Okay, thank you. So next we go upon Ibu Naini.
Betul.
Ibu, you want to
Mungkin
respond?
Oh, okay.
ha.
So from this question, right? So can you give an example of country that is easy for them to face the challenge of the world economy? I think there are a lot of country face a lot of the economic challenge with a lot of anticipated preparation. For example, I will talk about the Indonesia. To face the challenge of COVID-19, actually, Indonesia try to focus in the economic sector. Like first is the boost for the digital economy because it's quite important for the, I mean, for the digital economy to boost for to anticipate it from the COVID-19 such maybe they try to boost for the small medium enterprise with the selling by online, so they try to focus on it to giving the capital for the small medium enterprise in order they can be very focused on it to recover for the economy. And the second is they tend to into the green economy to the they focus today for the economy is for carbon trading actually. What is the carbon trading start in the 2022 and get the decree from the Joko Widodo president because carbon trading in one of the one of the way to recover the economy by they sell the carbon and they get the impact for to make the green economy for Indonesia. And the second and the third is they boost for the foreign direct investment to the infrastructure because you know the infrastructure in Indonesia is quite massive. You can see a lot of the infrastructure like as maybe in Indonesia like jalan tol, and then it's very important to cut for the supply chain management. Maybe, for example, in Papua New Guinea, Papua, when we talk about the Papua, maybe when the Java want to want to distribute the product in the Papua, so it needs a long day. But with the giving birth like jalan tol, so it will be very cut day, and it is for the distribution is quite very effective. So that's why the focus for the Joko Widodo president in the infrastructure. So it is quite important also to boost the economic. That's why for the economic outlook in Indonesia, although they face the COVID-19 with the very big money in focus on the health for the health, because there are a lot of the the society in Indonesia getting the COVID-19, and the paramedic is medic I mean medical, and the paramedics is die because of the COVID-19. So allocation, the biggest allocation prior is in the medical. So that's why they try to improve it via infrastructure, and then carbon trading, and then they also increase the tax also for the like cigarette industry, and then for excise, for the in minimum bil alcohol, something like that. So that is a way of the government in Indonesia to face the COVID-19 and the other pandemic, and also for the global economic challenge. Thank you.
Okay, next we have a question. We are being warned that there will be a world recession in 2023 by the World Bank. Okay, so I think maybe Cik Abu Zaid, you want to respond on that?
Okay, so thank you for this question. So in terms of this warning by the World Bank, so okay, all of my comments are just my just my own personal views. It's not the view of the government. I have to say that first. Okay, so so in terms of for us, when we look at the world economy in terms of the current state of the world economy, we look at mainly two sources. One is the World Bank, and the other one is the apa ni apa ni international
Monetary Fund.
IMF, plus
I'm
also the then plus the other banks as well. So at the moment, so yes, there are like signs that for this year, the world economy will not grow as strong as last year. So I would say just yes. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Daisy, if you want to add a bit more.
Okay, thank you. So regarding about the war, the situation, I think we have to realize that to make it a country more strong and also powerful, don't forget one of the most important factor is human resource. So how to make it human resource more powerful? It is not easy, of course, but we can do that because quality and also being professional, it is like to how we can do the habit good things, yeah, every time. So we will make it investment for creating, yeah, the powerful people to coverage the problems of the countries itself. So don't worry about war or also pandemic COVID. Yeah, I think kadarullah, yeah, that we have to consider it is external factors that this is very emergency. We cannot ignore there, but with the collaboration, with togetherness, inshallah, yeah, that could be recovered. Thank you very much.
Okay, the next question is why is the war between Russia and Ukraine one of the challenges that can affect ASEAN countries. I think this we have discussed a bit just now. So please, Ibu Aini, if you want to say something,
Yeah.
the war between Ukraine and Russia.
Yes, of course, because we have to know that Russian invasion of Ukraine led to the restriction on access to gas, oil, and commodities, resulting in an increase in energy, commodity, and food price. So this condition not only disrupt the economy in the Eastern Europe, but also in ASEAN also. So the world, I mean, so the Russia-Ukraine war caused even greater disruption to global supply chain. As a result, prospect for economic recovery depends to a large extent on the duration of the war's ability to cope with disruption to the flow of commodities. And then the increase of oil prices in Russia then had an impact on a number of countries. In fact, oil is included on the vital needs of foreign sector. So if many sectors are disrupted, and so because oil affect to the use of modes of the transportation, so the price of raw material, the chemical industry, pharmaceutical, and so on. So its role is very important for many aspect of life. So I think that's why ASEAN also get the very big impact from the Russian, yeah, and Ukraine war. Thank you.
Okay. I think we also recently heard that Russia have mentioned that they might sanction
Mm.
sales
Yes,
of fuel to the world. So
yes, of course.
that is also one big issue, and the impact may be bigger. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The next question is there economic challenge that caused by climate change, and what solution can the country to do to avoid this challenge? Okay, I can call Cik Abu.
Okay, thank you. This is quite a challenging one to answer. Uh, so what can the country do to avoid such challenges? So basically, we can't avoid climate change. Basically, basically, when we try to address the impact of climate change, there's two ways. There's mitigation or adaptation. Okay, so mitigation is where we try to basically limit the limit the factors apa, which can lead to climate change. See, like greenhouse gases and all that. Then apa ni, adaptation is where we try to manage its impact. Say, like in case of floods. Okay, so what we can do is we build the binting apa in the wall kan to sort of avoid the flood avoid the floods from coming in. Then there's like this issue of sea level rise. So like if you see like at some beaches, you see that over time so the level of the sea, it keeps like going up and up. Okay, so this is where we have to sort of manage, where we try to either we put something there, like the beach, or we plant mangrove trees, or that. So those are some of the things that governments do to try to manage the impact from climate change. Thank you.
Okay, and then another question: will these economic challenges become more challenging in the future? Okay, Dr. Daisy.
Okay. So this is very good question. I think challenge for all aspects. Yeah, we have to facing up, and then economic challenge. It is not is a small thing. Yeah, it is a big part or many scopes inside there. So many factors will involve, yeah, with this economic challenge. But it if we can say it is more challenging, yes, of course, because situation are always changing. Yeah, the external, internally, they're also going up to the new situation that we never know before. So challenging means how we can prepare. Challenging means how we can cover up. But again, not ever do by one person. Yeah, so we have to do in togetherness. So more challenges will be more covering, inshallah. Thank you, Dr. Saladin.
Okay, so I think, okay, there's one more question. what strategy should be taken to overcome the inequality in hiring workers in ASEAN? So, who would like to answer this? Ibu or Dr. Daisy?
Daisy, actually.
Okay, thank you, Bu Nur Aini. Yeah.
Yeah, it's your
So
expertise, actually.
Yes, yes, it's your
no, you are expert also. Okay, thank you so much. So, to overcome inequality, I think this is one big factors that we can relate it with how we can improve ourselves. Yeah. So, everybody must keep learning, must increasing their skills, and also improve their norms, ethics. Yeah. So this is starting point, yeah, how the inequality become the equality. So again, that I've repeat more and more, this is not only one person will do that, yeah, so starting from the individual itself, but if the others cannot support, I think the equality cannot come in. I think this enough, Dr. Saladin. Thank you.
But okay. Next is what steps should the people of Malaysia take, or only the government of the country? So I think Cik Abu Zaid, you have to answer this.
yes.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Sardin. So, what steps should the people of Malaysia take, or only the government of the country should play a role to overcome economic challenges in the global economy? I suppose. So, I think everyone needs to play a role. You know, need to need to tackle this issue together. I think that's one of the things that we always try to communicate to the people, because there's so much that the government can do without without the without the support of the people. So it's both ways. Okay, it's the government and the people. It's not like either or. Okay, right. Thank
Okay,
you.
I think it's a very straightforward answer.
So,
Okay, next, I
situation for
think
yourself, actually.
okay, next is any prediction on the COVID-19 spread on the world economic development? Will the world face the same challenging condition in 2020? Ibu, please respond.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think for the prediction, the COVID-19 rate spread, I mean, it's of course quite different with the 2022, because we know that in the 2022 we haven't, we don't get the vaccine, and then booster for vaccine, because vaccinated is quite effective to handle or to decline for the pandemic of COVID-19, and it happened in Indonesia. It's not only Indonesia but almost around the world. Of course, it's quite different from the 2020 to 2023, because maybe we have very good antibody in our body. We got the good vaccination, but the most important thing for the challenging is not only about the pandemic, because for example, in Indonesia, the focus is not only for pandemic but also nowadays work going to for the green economy. They focus for the energy transition. I think it is the most important issue in 2023. So they will be focused for the net zero emission, to the carbon trading and sustainable economic development. Actually, is that the answer? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next is climate change. Climate change, change the weather, such as China is experiencing drought. China is experiencing drought. And okay, I think okay. We have the question again. Climate change, weather such as China is experiencing drought and Pakistan and India are experiencing floods, causing other countries also to be affected. Okay, why? Okay, Dr. Daisy, the climate change issue.
Yeah, just
Basically,
moment. Yeah,
yeah.
sorry. I think so many issues. Yeah, if you talk about floods, yeah, every country, many countries got this issue also. But doing it's not the government, for example. Yeah, when they have technically solving for this issue. But if we compare with the habit from the societies, for example, how they can being habit to draw the all the tra- sorry, I mean how there's a habit to protect, yeah, for the cleanliness, yeah, how to maintain for the cleanliness, I think is not going on if the only the government support for this issue. So it is like how they can support each other, yeah, between societies and also government. But if they have any good or proper habit, I think this is very commonly or very supporting for this government solving. Thank you.
Okay, next question. I think of course this have to be answered by Ibu. Malaysia mengalami masalah sumber input yang banyak diimport, menyebabkan inflasi terutamanya barang-barang makanan. Adakah Indonesia mengalami masalah yang sama? So it's implying that Malaysia's one of the reason of inflation is because of imports. So is it the
Yeah,
same situation in Indonesia?
yeah, it's similar with the Indonesia, between Indonesia and Malaysia for the import problem, because actually there are a lot of there are item, and especially food if import from China and Korea, South Korea, because in Indonesia it's very massive the food from the South Korea. So this it is really good for the economic actually, because it will be very danger for the food security market in Indonesia only, maybe for the local market or local food. That's why the culture of the like Korean pop culture, like the Chinese culture, especially for the Korean culture, is very influenced in Indonesia, and I think it's not really good. As we know that for the export policy today is not really good, because some of the country they are limited for the export from the other country, because they just only focus on the to fulfill the need from the domestic country itself actually.
Okay, adakah Indonesia tiada? I think this is already answered just now. Okay. Next question.
Next question.
I've seen
uh,
another question.
Wait,
Why war between Ukraine and China can impact the economy? So this also was answered just now.
this,
Okay.
I think
So
no question anymore.
is there any other question?
Okay, no.
Okay, if there's no other question, I think I call upon the speakers to just wrap up lah on what we have discussed. So I call again Cik Abu to just give some concluding remarks on your talk today.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Saladin. So actually, I think I've started my apa ni wrap up earlier, but it's okay. So basically, what we have seen is that government has taken lessons from every economic uh, challenges lah. In the past and even in the present. So just to apa ni, tie back to Dr. PDC's point in terms of human capital. So this is where governments on the world. So there's this conscious effort to improve the sort of the overall level of skills in its workers, okay, including in Malaysia, because in this current era of digitalization, so there is this need for the workers to be like upskilled, reskilled, so that we can adapt. Okay, because um, there's this a mismatch in terms of skills, at least in the Malaysian labor market. So this is something that which will be addressed in the future. So then in terms of the economic challenges, so everyone is facing more or less the same problem. But for Malaysia in particular, for the past 5 years or so, it was mainly the main one was policy uncertainty. If you get what I mean, lah. Okay, so after the most recent GE, so moving forward, there is this hope. Okay, moving forward, there will be further, structural changes lah in terms of government policies, which will help to further boost, the Malaysian economy. Thank you.
Yeah. Maybe more, I think you can just talk about political stability. Okay, okay, next, Dr. Daisy, any concluding remarks?
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Dr. Saladin. I think, like I've told before, there no things that's many most important things, yeah, except the human capital, human resource. Yeah, this is very main asset for all the countries to make it. Contribution to get from their contributions, and also what they have done, it is directly impact, yeah, with the sustainable of the countries, yeah, to make it good situation, yeah, and also how the demographic will um, make the countries will be more powerful. I think it's enough from me. Thank you, Dr. Saladin.
Okay, and last, Dr. Puan, Ibu.
Okay, thank you so much. I think the most today that when we gather year from now, the expect many of the challenges, and one of the challenges is about the energy and environmental security, which is the has emerged as the primary issue that consensus has recently been for of the potential for long-term economic, national security, and societal damage from the insecure energy supply and environmental catastrophe, and as well as the that we intense need for technological advance that can provide low polluting and secure energy source. That's why renewable energy net zero emission is very focused on 2023 to face a lot of the challenges for the economy. And yes, despite growing global momentum, there is still little agreement to the base of the set of the action required to reduce global dependency on fossil fuel and to the greenhouse gas emissions. So, confronting the international policy challenge is the disproportionate impact on the high oil price and global warming across nations. So, insulating some countries from the immediate concern while forcing others to pledge for more the rapid change. And beside that, about the conflict and property, we still have to face the challenge and then competing in this new era, like and then global imbalances and the rise of the new power. And I think that's enough for me, especially we can focus for the green economy and sustainable economic development for this year. Thank you.
Okay, thank you to all the panels. Yeah. Okay, Cik
Dr.
Abu Zaid.
Saladin,
Yep,
can I add one sentence?
sure.
Okay. For the last, yeah, we have to remember that Allah Subhanahu wa Taala give us the most great gift for all of us. Yeah, we call it talent. Yeah, talent. We have any talents that depend on how we can manage our talent, and then how we can commit, yeah, with our effort, with our duty and task that we always do. And don't forget, we are not alone, Allah with us, and also supporting by others. Thank you very much, Dr. Saladin.
Yeah, it's very right. I think that's a very strong statement for all of us, especially we as Muslims. We should have this something to support us. That means our strength to the Creator. So thank
Okay.
you again to all the three panels, Cik Abu Zaid, Dr. Daisy, and Ibu Nurul Aini Fitria. So I pass next to our MC, Puan Mazatul Sadia.
Okay, terima kasih kepada semua panel jemputan. Okay, tampaknya kita punya webinar sudah melabur pada tirainya. Jadi cuma saya nak minta satu untuk sesi fotografi. Okay, semua sedia. Alright. Dengan kiraan 1, 2, 3. Okay, alright. So sebelum mengundurkan diri, okay, andai kata tersilap bicara, saya mohon maaf atas segala kesilapan. Jadi adat bertemu ada berpisah, lain masa insya-Allah kita berjumpa lagi. Dengan ini maka tamatlah sudah webinar kita pada petang ni. Alright, alhamdulillah. InsyaAllah dengan akhir kata Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh dan jumpa lagi. Jadi saya mohon untuk semua isi link attendance untuk CJ certificate. untuk
Thank you
pelajar-pelajar.
very much to Cik Abu Zaid, Dr. DC and Dr. Nuraini dan juga Dr. Saladin as moderator. I think it is very good and invaluable insight from you all. Thank you very much.
Alright, thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam
Salam.
warahmatullahi
Thank you.
wabarakatuh. Bye-bye.
Terima kasih jumpa lagi insya-Allah. Assalamualaikum.
InsyaAllah jumpa lagi.
Salam.
Thank you.